Have you ever looked at an anime and thought, this is so huge I don't even know where to start? Well, that was JoJo for me. The memes, the aura, which, by the way, is JoJo speak for I'm about to punch you 1,000 times, the mudas, which means useless, and everyone talking about JoJo. But me? I had no clue what this craziness was all about. And let me tell you, my friend, nothing could have prepared me for this. Oh, and before I get carried away, let me introduce myself for the newcomers. I'm Frog Frank, your official guide to the madness of the geek world. And this is Wool.
Hey everyone, I'm here to keep Frank in check, or at least try to.
And hey, if you love anime, games, and everything absurdly insane, you already know what to expect from this channel. And more, this video will have a second part where we'll read and discuss your comments. In fact, we always respond to comments in the next video, so today we're reading the ones you left before. Drop your thoughts on JoJo down below. Look, I've watched a lot of anime in my life. Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. But JoJo, I always put it off. Kind of like those classic movies everyone talks about, but you never actually get around to watching. Until one day, a warrior, yes, a brave warrior of the comments section named a Maxim Output appeared and dropped this message. What are your opinions on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Part 1, Phantom Blood, Part 2, Battle Tendency, Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable, Part 5, Golden Wind, Part 6, Stone Ocean, Part 7, Steel Ball Run, and Part 8, JoJolion? Basically, this guy wants to know what I think about every single part of JoJo. Bold. I like it.
Nice. He mentioned JoJo, but does he know we don't talk about pop bands here? Or, wait, is this one of those weird Marvel multiverses?
Wool? No, not even close. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one of the most iconic anime series ever, full of insane fights, over-the-top fashion, and legendary catchphrases.
Oh, so like Avengers, but with more dramatic poses?
More or less, but with way more bizarreness. If you really want to understand, I made a full video about the story behind JoJo's creator, Hirohiko Araki, and I'll leave the link in the description.
Great, but I'm gonna have to watch that, aren't I?
Absolutely. And for those who are already JoJo fans, pay attention. There's a big event happening. Or maybe it already happened, depending on when you're watching this. JoJo Day. Did they announce Steel Ball Run? Is there already a trailer? Well, we're talking about that too. So without further ado, let's get started. Because, my friend, this was a Stan-powered roller coaster of emotions. So let's start from the beginning. Phantom Blood. This is where it all began. And let me tell you, it's not just any beginning. We've got Jonathan Joestar, your classic noble hero. Basically Captain America if he lived in Victorian England. And the rival? Dio Brando. Ah, Dio. This guy's the most evil villain to ever exist. He kicked a dog, ruined Jonathan's life in every way possible, and to top it all off, he turned into a vampire just because... well, because he could. It's like Twilight, but way more stylish and with a lot more punches. Now, if you think this part is a bit slow, I get it. Jonathan is that classic honorable hero who believes in solving everything with justice and fairness. But the key thing to remember is, without Phantom Blood, we wouldn't have Dio. And without Dio, we wouldn't have anything. He is literally the reason this entire saga exists. That's why, even though it's simple, this part has its own charm. And there's one thing Phantom Blood does exceptionally well. It shows you that JoJo is all about exaggeration. Everything here is dramatic, from the poses to the music. It's a visual spectacle that immediately makes it clear. This isn't just another anime.
All right, but what's the rating? Don't drag it out, Frank, just spill it.
Look, I'll be honest. Phantom Blood isn't perfect. Jonathan isn't the most exciting protagonist, and the fights might feel slow if you've already watched the later arcs. But Dio. Dio. This guy carries this part on his back. He's the kind of villain you love to hate. And the ending? Man, it's surprising. Way different from what you'd expect from a typical shonen.
Okay, but the rating? Stop stalling.
Rating? 8 out of 10. It's a solid starting point, but the series only gets better from here. Whee! This is how the JoJo legacy begins.
Oh my god. He's completely in character now. Wait a second. I was checking this out to understand. So, the second part isn't in the same place? Where's our hero? Shouldn't he still be the main character?
Great catch, Wool. But here's the thing about JoJo. Each part changes everything. New protagonist, new setting, new time period. Even the art style evolves. But there's one constant. Everything is connected by the Joestar bloodline.
So, JoJo is like a family inheritance?
Exactly. Jonathan Joestar was just the beginning, but the story keeps going through his descendants, facing new enemies, and of course, new levels of bizarreness. So if you thought we were sticking with the same hero, surprise! Each arc brings us a brand new JoJo.
This is starting to sound like one of those movie franchises that switches protagonists but acts like it makes sense.
And you know what? It does. At least it does within JoJo's insane logic. And now brace yourself, because we're about to talk about one of the most chaotic protagonists of all time, Joseph Joestar, the king of improvisation. All right, now let's talk about battle tendency. And let me tell you, Joseph Joestar, the protagonist of this part, is my favorite JoJo. He's not just a hero, he's chaotic, sarcastic, cunning, and the type of guy who solves every problem in the most ridiculous way possible. Like piloting a plane straight into an Aztec god. Yeah, that actually happens. And yes, it's just as insane as it sounds. Joseph is the complete opposite of Jonathan. Where Jonathan was noble and honorable, Joseph is all about creativity, quick thinking, and pure chaos. He never fights fair, but he always wins. He's the kind of character that's impossible not to love. And if you thought Phantom Blood was a bit slow, let me tell you, things speed up here. The battles and battle tendency are insane. Joseph faces superpowered Aztec gods, pulls off the craziest strategies, and even throws grenades like they're confetti. It's a masterclass in unpredictability, humor, and, well, grenades. And we can't forget the emotional moments. The relationship between Joseph and Caesar Zeppeli is incredible. They start as rivals, but they end up forming a partnership with amazing chemistry. And their final moment together? My friend, get your tissues ready because this one hits hard. Battle tendency is a roller coaster. It's got humor, action, drama, and Joseph carries the whole thing with his unique personality. The fights are creative, the villains are unforgettable, and the arc never loses momentum. Rating? Easy 10 out of 10. This is the part that makes a lot of people fall in love with JoJo. So tell me, who wouldn't want to be a little like Joseph? Witty, clever, and always one step ahead.
Wait. You gave Phantom Blood an 8 and now you're throwing out a 10 just like that? What is this, a private school? Handing out top grades like candy?
Whoa, my dear! Battle tendency doesn't just deserve a 10, it demands it. This arc is a roller coaster. It's got humor, action, drama, and Joseph carries the whole thing with his one-of-a-kind personality. The fights are creative, the villains are unforgettable, and the pacing never drops.
All right, but what if it was a 9.5? You know, just to keep your credibility as an anime critic intact?
No way! 10 out of 10! Because this arc is what makes so many people fall in love with JoJo.
All right, but you watching this, do you agree? Is this really a solid 10? What score would you give it? Drop it in the comments.
Now we've arrived at Stardust Crusaders, the part that changes everything. This is where stands make their debut, and let me tell you, stands are one of the most creative power systems ever. Each one is unique, every battle is unpredictable, and you just keep asking yourself, how did Araki even come up with this? Seriously, the guy is a genius. But I have to be honest, this arc is long, really long. Like 48 episodes of we're traveling the world and, oh no, something weird happened. Could it be a stand? Oh, it was a stand. This happens a lot.
Frank, seriously, the long part here is you explaining all of this. But okay, I'm actually enjoying it, so keep going. I want to know how this journey ends.
All right, Wool, I'll keep going. And trust me, the ending makes it all worth it. Just trust Dio. Trust me. Look, don't give up, because Stardust Crusaders is totally worth it. The group of characters here is amazing. Jotaro, the stoic protagonist, Joseph, now older but still brilliant, and the whole gang, each with their own unique charm. They form a team that's impossible not to love. And of course, we have Dio. Yes, Dio is back. And the final battle against him? Absolutely epic. When he activates the world and Jotaro responds with Star Platinum, my friend, that's one of the most intense fights in the entire series. It makes every second of the journey worth it. Look, Stardust Crusaders has its highs and lows. It's a bit long and repetitive at times, but the concept of stands is so incredible, and the finale is so spectacular that it's all worth it. Rating? I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. The beginning might drag a little, but the final payoff is huge. So, if you're thinking about watching it, my advice is stick with it, because Dio is waiting for you. And trust me, it's going to be worth every minute. Now, we've arrived at Diamond is Unbreakable. This is the part where JoJo takes an unexpected turn and turns into a mix of CSI and anime. We've got a serial killer on the loose, a town full of secrets, and a stand that literally makes people explode with a single touch. Classic, right? This part has a completely different vibe. We move away from epic adventures and dive straight into Morio, a small town packed with mysteries.
Wait, so no world saving here? Just a small town with local problems?
Exactly, Wool, but that's what makes this part so good. The focus is more on character development and suspense, which gives us time to get really attached to them. And then there's the villain, Yoshikage Kira. You know what's terrifying? He doesn't want to take over the world like Dio. He just wants to live peacefully while, well, killing a few people. It's disturbing, but it works. Kira is so eerily human that it's actually scary.
Wait, just wants to live peacefully while killing people? That's messed up.
Messed up and brilliant, Wool. He's the kind of villain that makes you want to look over your shoulder. And his stand, Killer Queen, is incredible. It can detonate anything with just a touch. Evidence, people, you name it. And on top of that, he can rewind time. It's like playing chess against someone who always knows your next move. And we can't forget the protagonist, Josuke Higashikata. He's funny, stylish, and his stand, Crazy Diamond, is one of the most creative. He can destroy something and then restore it. It's a power that perfectly reflects his personality. He wants to fix things, but knows when he needs to break them first. Diamond is Unbreakable is an arc that blends mystery, humor, and action in a unique way. The pace is more relaxed, but the tension builds up until it all leads to an explosive finale. The town's aesthetic, the characters, and the soundtrack make everything even more memorable. Rating? A solid 9 out of 10. There's no way not to fall in love with Morio and its people. Well, maybe not Kira. If you haven't watched it yet, give it a chance. Who knows? Maybe you'll uncover a hidden secret in Morio too. Now it's time for Golden Wind, and you know what that means? Italy, the mafia, and pure fashion. And when I say fashion, I mean Milan Fashion Week level style. And here's the kicker. Giorno Giovanna is Dio's son. Yep, half Joestar, half Dio. It's complicated, but trust me, it makes sense. Well, at least in the JoJo universe. But Giorno isn't just stylish. He's determined, strategic, and his stand, Golden Experience, literally gives life to things. He can turn rocks into frogs. Who else does that?
Wait a minute. He's Dio's son, but wasn't Dio like the ultimate villain? How did that happen?
Ah, well, that's a long story involving Dio, a Joestar's body, and let's just say Araki loves complicating family trees. But what matters here is that Giorno wants to use the mafia for something bigger. Justice. He's like Robin Hood, but with way better outfits. And what really makes this arc shine? The stands. They are the most creative and insane in the entire series. There's a stand that works like a mini warplane, another one that manipulates mirrors, and even one that skips time. It's a showcase of pure imagination.
This sounds amazing. And what about the mafia? Are they just villains, or is there more to it?
Great question, Wool. The members of Passione, the main mafia group, aren't your typical heroes. They're complex, each with their own motivations. But together, they form one of the most unforgettable teams in JoJo. And of course, we have the mafia boss, Diavolo. He's the kind of villain that keeps you on edge the whole time because he can literally skip time and catch you off guard. And the ending? It's explosive, literally. It has such an insane twist that you can't look away. And Golden Experience Requiem? It's one of the most overpowered abilities I've ever seen in anime. Let's just say, nothing escapes it. Golden Wind is one of the most stylish arcs in JoJo. The Italian setting, the creative stands, and the perfect balance between action and emotion make it one of the best. My rating? A solid 9.5 out of 10. The only reason I'm not giving it a 10 is because I'm still trying to understand how Araki came up with all of this. So, if you're into mafia, fashion, or just want to watch some of the craziest battles ever, this is the arc for you. Now, about Stone Ocean, Steel Ball Run, and JoJolion. These arcs deserve their own special video, so if you want to know more, you already know, stay tuned, because there's still a lot of JoJo bizarreness left to explore.
And guess what? We've got some big news. On April 12th, 2025, in Tokyo, the event JOJO Day is happening, promising to connect the past and future of JoJo.
Well, do you think they'll talk about JoJolion too?
Good question, Frank. I really hope so, but the main focus is probably going to be Steel Ball Run. And hey, as soon as we get updates, I'll cover everything right here on the channel. Now it's that time again where we give back to you guys, read your comments, and respond with care. So let's go. This one's from a loyal member of the channel. One of those comments you read and think, this person deserves a solid response. So let's get into it. All right, this one I have to read. This movie is full of flaws and doesn't excite anyone. Mediocre script, and Marvel keeps pushing woke nonsense. Now they've decided that Black Widow has to be ugly, scrawny, and have the body of a 10-year-old boy. She can't be hot and gorgeous like Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh anymore. Marvel sucks, and woke is trash. Just like this movie, which has a villain that looks like something out of Scooby-Doo. Look, Frank, I also thought the script was weak and the villain was bad. But why is every guy more worried about whether Black Widow is poster-worthy for their bedroom? Does that make sense to you?
Hey, priorities, Wool! But okay. The script is a mess too. Is that what you wanted to hear?
That's more like it. Now we can move on.
Look, when we talk about bad villains in the MCU, the list is long. Marvel has a special talent for turning massive threats from the comics into forgettable jokes. But is the leader the worst of them all? Let's find out. Wasted villains. Like Caecilius from Doctor Strange. They had Mads Mikkelsen, one of the best actors to play a cold and imposing villain, and they turned him into a glorified extra. Weird adaptations. Remember Malekith, the villain from Thor, The Dark World. Even his own mother probably doesn't remember him. Zero impact villains, like the ones in Captain Marvel. Yanrog, the villain from the Marvels, shows up, says a few lines, and vanishes. But the leader managed to stand out, and not in a good way.
Hey, Frank, would you have Mary Jane on a poster? Never mind, I don't want to know.
The comic book versions? Absolutely. But the ones that made it to the big screen. And you know what really bugs me? Marvel has a serious problem with older characters. I mean, in the comics, Aunt May was, well, a proper old lady. The kind that makes you want to help her cross the street. But in the movies, suddenly Aunt May turns into Marisa Tomei. Marvel, what's with the age discrimination? The characters who are supposed to be elderly turn into fashion models, and the ones that were attractive in the comics, well, we all know what happens.
You want to finish that sentence, or are you going to get yourself in trouble?
So, in the comics, the leader is a super genius, a master manipulator, a strategist, always one step ahead. In the movie, he's a guy who figured out how to control people with light and sound. And instead of taking over the world, he just controls a bunch of random soldiers.
Wait, so he could control anyone, but he decided to mess around with grunts?
Exactly. Imagine this. He could hack a global broadcast, control world leaders, orchestrate some master plan, but nope. Instead, he basically threw a flashbang in an NPC's face. And to make it worse, he spends the whole movie thinking he's a genius, but can't even predict the most obvious thing. Captain America knocks on his door and he's shocked, like he didn't see it coming. My guy, stupid.
Okay, we got it. The villain is a genius idiot. Next.
Exactly. And then comes the cherry on top. His grandmaster plan is to get arrested again. Because apparently the first time was such a great experience, he wanted a sequel. Buddy, stupid.
All right. We get it. Let's wrap this up before you explode.
So, that's it. The leader has officially taken the crown for great ideas, terrible execution. But is he the worst villain in the MCU? Well, Marvel has a pretty bad track record with forgettable villains, but he's definitely in the top 3.
All right, so if you think there's a Marvel villain worse than this, drop it in the comments. Because honestly, I'm kind of scared to find out there's something worse.
That's it! Leave your comment and let's see which villain takes home the trophy for worst in the MCU.
If there's one worse than this, I'm done. All right, that's it for today. But don't forget, like, subscribe, and comment. We're watching. See you in the next one. Later.